Hi, I'm Ellen Horan, President and CEO at the Greater Reading Chamber, and I'm here for this week's Member Spotlight with Dave and Chris Roche from Roche Electric. Welcome, Dave and Chris.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Good. You know, like so many of our members, one, you're a small business, and two, you're a family-run business. And Dave, I think it was your father, actually, that started
Yeah,
the
my
business?
dad started in 1974 with my mom being the secretary and the bookkeeper and all that. So.
Okay. So did you always aspire to join your dad's company? Was that
Yeah,
a plan?
I mean, yeah, it was. I went into service to get away for a little while for 4 years and kind of be my own person, per se.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was always something I wanted to do with him.
Yeah, great. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, we've been working together since I was like, 6 years old, so it's almost
Ooh,
second nature.
Child
so.
labor.
Yeah, child
No,
labor
it
laws.
was all like building a house, and renovations at the house was really where we started.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the range of service that you provide?
Mostly residential and light commercial. We do have some small industrial clients that has built over the years. We do mostly electrical, but we've branched out in the last 20 years into HVAC work. I do some commercial refrigeration. We do Conner-Weiser School District, all their cafeteria work. We picked up duct cleaning about 7 years ago. Chris and I went to Dallas and got trained on that. That was just a branch off of the HVAC work. You got into people's homes and the ductwork was dirty. So we branched off into that, and that's pretty much what we do.
Good.
We're a plumber short of a mechanical contractor.
Okay. There you go. It's a good way to word it.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit, Chris, about the training that's required to become an electrician?
For the electrician side, there's a 4-year apprenticeship. You work, I think it's 1,000 hours a year.
2,000 hours.
2,000 hours a year. And then it's night school, 2 nights a week, 3 hours a night. And then once you're done with the 4 years, you can challenge the city test and take the journeyman test.
Okay.
And then after that, 2 years after you have your journeyman's, you can then go for your master's.
Excellent.
So it's fairly simple, but it's a lengthy process. It's
Right.
4 years of night school. So.
And you currently have an apprentice. I want to say intern, apprentice.
We have two currently.
two.
We have one in
Okay.
the 4th year, and we have one that's going to be starting his 1st year next year.
Okay.
He's going through a process right now until he starts school in June.
And then that classroom training, is that available locally?
Yeah, it's through the Berks Career and Technology Center.
Okay.
So there's an East Campus and West. One's in Oley, one's in Byrne Township. So it's very convenient.
Now, how hard was it to find these apprentices?
It was difficult. It was very difficult. All the mechanical contractors are having a difficult time trying to find young people that want to be in the trades. And I think the key is trying to reach out to the parents of young people. It's a viable way to make a living.
Right.
I raised a family of 2 sons. Chris has 2 children. He's raising children with it, and you can make a good earn a good living. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Being in the mechanical field, and with benefits, and being home every day. You know, you're going to be home every night, other than the schooling. Where else can you be in a trade for 6 years and have your own business?
Right.
You know, I mean, really, that's the key. I mean, and I've had several members that's gone through the company that have their own businesses now, and I'm proud of that.
Right.
You know, I encourage that if they want to have their own business, they can certainly do that.
Right. Now, Chris, did you do the Career and Technology Center during high school, or did you go afterwards?
No, it's post high school.
Okay.
So you have
So
to
even
be
if you wanted
graduated
to,
and
you
then
couldn't go to the Career
you
and
can
Tech
go to
during-
VOTEC. You can do their VOTEC program, which it touches a little bit on it, and it's hands-on in school, but it's nothing that you can build on. You can build on it, but it's nothing like set in stone.
Okay.
The apprenticeship, you actually get a certificate at the end of the 4 years that you can go anywhere in the country, and you have your journeyman certificate. You just got to challenge whatever local test is.
Right. So that's a good point, that this is a portable certification.
Yes, you can move,
that
I
you
believe,
have.
anywhere in the country. And
I think there's over 30 states that are. It's a
Recognize
federal
it.
program. It's through
Right.
the Department of Labor and Industry here in Pennsylvania.
Right.
But it's a federal program too. So
Right.
yeah, moving is not a problem. Just challenging the local municipalities' tests.
Okay.
It would be what you'd have to do to move to another state.
Okay. Now, in the past year, or maybe it's 2 years actually, the Greater Reading Economic Partnership did a good job developing a campaign, a public relations campaign called Careers in 2 Years. Now, obviously, your certification is longer than that, but their point was just to get people thinking about technician level jobs, whether it's working with your hands. It kind of, there are 2-year training programs that can give you very solid careers. Are there some things that you think the community could be doing to further promote the awareness on the viability of these jobs, the need for these jobs?
I think, again, I go back to educating parents today of students in the middle school, junior high level, that it's not sexy or it's not fancy, if you don't go to college that you become a mechanic, but we're hurting, and it's going to hurt all of Berks County, and it's spread out throughout the country.
Right.
I think it's looked down upon to be a mechanic and get your hands dirty to some degree, and I think we need to change that part of it.
Well, as you explained, I mean, this is a well-educated field. You can't just walk into it. You
can't walk
pretty
into it.
extensive.
The easy thing is we can train, and all the hands-on training comes from the 2,000 hours of work each year.
Right.
So it's if you can handle a screwdriver, we can pretty much train you to start entry level and work your way up.
And then work your way up.
Our 2 current apprentices had no idea what electric was about till they started with us.
Okay.
And so it's not something that you need to have VOTEC to further your career. We've had people come through the program.
You can do it after.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of key because the Career and Technology Center isn't going to be for everyone, and I think some people have that mindset of staying in the high school and moving on to college. So I think we need to be able to catch people all along the way. And I think another thing that we're seeing is a lot of employers start thinking of college level or adult level as interns, and I think we need to back that down. Into the high schools. And
my father didn't want me to go to VOTEC because he said he could teach me more on weekends and nights and get the college prep curriculum and get the maths and the sciences. And I pretty much had the same feeling with Chris. He was lucky that he had me that we could do that.
Right.
So that's why he didn't go to the VOTEC.
Okay.
So I think it's at any point you can do this. The gentleman that just started his first year apprenticeship is 26. Was in factories, was doing that kind of work, and said, I just don't want to do that anymore. I want a career. And he's doing fabulous. 6 months into it, he's going to be a wonderful mechanic.
Great.
He really is.
I think that's one of the things we need to get the message out. There's more than one way to succeed. But either way, you do need education and training beyond high school.
And if you have the one thing he's taught us, the first year apprentice, if you have drive and if you want to do it, you're going to do it.
Right. Okay, now you are a small business. You mentioned you have the 2 apprentices, and I know your wife does some of your back office work also. Talk to us about how you address that challenge of working in the business versus when can you step back and work on the business.
For me, it's difficult, and that's the step that I'm trying to make. Chris and I have been working side by side. Obviously, he's got to get his education. He's got to get that mechanical part of it down so that I can start working on the business and not in the business. And Joanna's tremendous at that. She's taking care of that bookkeeping. We brought Cheyenne, Chris's wife, is now working with us.
Okay.
Because the challenge is now when Joanna and I want to go away, Chris is left high and dry with nothing. So now we have Cheyenne, who's learning all about the business end of it, so that Chris can concentrate in the field, Cheyenne can concentrate in the office, and the whole business keeps running smoothly.
Right.
So that's
Okay.
That's the challenge of being a family business and being chief cook and bottle washer until you get all the infrastructure together, and we're on that process.
Right.
We're on that track.
Well, we talked about some of your challenges, finding talent and balancing, working in the business versus on the business. What do you see as some of your great opportunities?
I think just growing with the business and growing the current base that we have as far as our clients. We're seeing that grow tremendously as we have more people that can actually get out in the field and do work. The more opportunities we have. So that's what we are working. We're in a growth spurt right now, and trying to keep up with the growth spurt is the challenge that Chris and I are facing. And with him being in school, he's currently finishing his 3rd year of his HVAC apprenticeship. So we're starting to get Chris doing more estimates. So now 2 of us can be out doing estimates instead of just 1. So that's the growth spurt that we're going through right now, and that's the challenge.
Right.
And that's the opportunity also.
Right.
So as your client base increases, that you get that many more people
Right.
that are now calling or telling friends or telling coworkers. So
Good. How about for you, Chris, being the younger generation? Your dad mentioned, you know, he worked for his father for a while, and you know, had some things that young Dave wanted to do in the business, and Dad was like, "Nah, we don't need that." What are some of your challenges in being the younger generation?
I wouldn't say too many challenges because he went through, he knows what I'm going through. It's mainly he lets me hang myself. So if I have an idea, he lets me do it, and if it doesn't work out, he goes, well, we all have to have growing pains.
Right.
So that's one of our biggest challenges, is him letting me grow as a mechanic and
a businessman.
And a businessman. Right.
Because you succeed by your failures.
Right.
You just
So
do.
true.
Yeah.
So true. Do you have any advice, either of you out there, for other small businesses that are you know, aspiring? You know, more than half of small businesses fail within 5 years, and you guys, you know, have been around quite a while, so you're doing something right. Any words of advice for fellow chamber members?
Keep it simple. Keep it true, and don't spend more than you make.
There you go. That's a good tip.
You know, that I think that's the biggest part, is we all tend to make it bigger than what it actually is, and just keep your hand on what you're spending. Everybody always says, well, it's a business write-off. Well, it's not a business write-off if you don't have the money to write it off. So keep it simple, and stay true to your word with your customers, and be honest with them. And if you can do that, I think anybody will succeed. I really do.
Great. Well, thank you very much for being members of the Chamber, and Dave, thank you very much for serving on our board of directors.
I appreciate being on that. It's a pleasure being on that board.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for what you do in Berks County.
Okay, thanks.
thank you.
Thanks for having us tonight.